Most people, when I talk to them about follow-up, these are what they struggle with. When do I follow up? How often do I follow up? What do I say when I follow up with someone about my business? That's one that I think people get a lot of anxiety about, and they end up not following up because they don't know what to say when they do follow up. And the other is, how do I follow up with them without being pushy? People have a big fear of being pushy, and maybe that's a fear that you have. And this formula that I'm going to help you create today is going to eliminate any feelings that you might have about being pushy when you follow up with your prospects. Also, you're never again going to wonder when you should follow up or what you should say when you follow up. We're going to address all of those today. 80% of all customer sales and team member enrollments happen between the 5th and 12th contact. So that means that 80% of people aren't going to buy your products or join your business until you've spoken to them or reached out to them in some way, anywhere from 5 to 12 times. But here's the other side of that. Only 10% of people follow up more than 3 times. So only 10% of people follow up more than 3 times, and yet 80% of all sales and enrollments don't come until the 5th to 12th contact. That is a big disconnect, and I think that we can all really increase the results that you're getting inside your business simply by following up more and more often. And that's what we're going to help you do today, is create a funnel that's going to help you know exactly when to follow up, what to say when you follow up, and make sure that you get those 5 to 12 contacts in with people so that you truly are maximizing your enrollments, both on the customer side and on the team member side. So what's the purpose of follow-up? Follow-up, a lot of times I think people have the misconception that follow-up the purpose of follow-up is to enroll someone or to get them to buy your product. And when we approach follow-up with that mindset, that is when we feel pushy, we feel anxiety, we feel scared, because we're approaching it like with the mindset of, I am following up with you so that I can get you, so I can get you to buy, so I can convince you to buy. I just can't get anyone. Do you ever hear that? I hear that in my team a lot. I just can't get anyone to do this. And when you are approaching follow-up with that get you mindset, of course it induces anxiety because you feel like you're out to get, when in reality, the purpose of follow-up is to give. When you're following up, you are out to give to your prospect, and you are giving them the information they need in order to lead them through the decision-making process. That's the purpose of follow-up. So let's say that again. The purpose of follow-up is to be out to give your prospect the information they need to lead them through the decision-making process. So someone has said they're interested. You reach out to them initially using one of the scripts that I share in the 6-Figure Blueprint Guide, and they say, yes, I would be interested in learning more about that. So your job then becomes to give them the information they need to make an informed decision. And they can make that decision at any point throughout the process. But you want to make sure you have enough steps in place that they really are informed and you're leading them through the decision-making process so that they can decide where they need, where they fit into your business. Do they fit in as a customer? Do they fit in as a consultant? Or maybe they simply fit in as a connector, meaning that they have a referral. They know someone who would be a good fit for your products, your services, or your business. So everyone fits in one of those places, and your job is simply to give them the information they need so they can decide where they fit in. And if we're not giving them that information, we're falling down on the job. We're not being professional, right? And so follow up, one of the things I hear all the time is, I don't want to be pushy. How do I follow up without being pushy? Well, the idea is when you start reaching out with the intention to give to your prospect rather than to get from your prospect, then it changes your mindset. And instead of being pushy, you're simply being professional, right? If you tell someone you're going to follow up and you don't follow up, you're not being professional. You're not doing the thing you said you were going to do, so you're not being professional. And that leads us into our next point that I want to make of how do you follow up? How do you schedule those follow-ups? And how do you actually lead someone through that decision-making process? And it's very simple. So the first thing that you do is this is like the golden rule of follow-up, okay, you guys? You never end a conversation without setting up the next conversation. Let me repeat that. You never end a conversation without setting up the next conversation. So when you're having a conversation with someone, let's say that they've agreed to take a look at your business, and the next step in the process is for them to view a presentation. So you're gonna say, all right, awesome. Well, if I sent you a link to you're gonna say the next step is, and then if I would you. The next step is to take a look at our recorded video presentation. If I sent you the link to that, would you take a look at it? And Eric Worre, the network marketing pro of all pros, is the one that I first heard that phrase from, if I would you. And it was many years ago, and I remember it really transformed the way that I did my business because it evokes a positive response from them. You're offering to give them something, and you're asking in return, will you give me something in return of, will you give me your time to watch this thing that I sent you? So the next step is, if I would you. The next step is to take a look at the presentation. If I sent you a link to that, would you take a look at it? And they will say yes. And you say, great. When do you think you would have a chance to take a look at that presentation? It's about 15 minutes long. When do you think you'll have a chance to take a look at that? Oh, you know what? The kids have baseball tonight. Tomorrow it's crazy busy, but tomorrow evening after the kids go to bed, I should be able to take a look at it. Fantastic. What time do your kids go to bed? Oh, they go to bed around 8 o'clock. Awesome. So I could give you a call tomorrow night around 9, or I could reach out to you during your lunch hour the following day, which would be better for you. So you give them two options for the follow-up appointment, right? And it's times that you have available, and you give them two choices. You reach out to you here or here, which works best for you. Oh, you know what? I'm going to be so exhausted after I watch this presentation, but why don't you call me during lunch on Thursday? Fantastic. I wrote it down in my calendar. I will give you a call on Thursday. So then what happens when you call them on Thursday? Are you being pushy? No, you're being professional because you told them you would follow up on Thursday. If you told them you would follow up on Thursday and then you fail to do so, you're not being professional. You're falling down on the job. You're not doing the thing you said you were going to do. So that's how, this just completely eliminates any fear of being pushy in your business because you always tell them what the next step is. You ask when they're going to be able to take a look at it, and you tell them when you'll follow up based on what's best for them. And you do that every single time throughout the entire process, right? So now I want to talk to you about creating your perfect follow-up system. And this is going to look different for you based on what tools you have in your toolbox that are at your disposal in your business. But there's a lot of tools that virtually every company has in place and virtually every team has in place. So we're going to brainstorm some of those tools today on the whiteboard. I'm going to apologize in advance for my handwriting. It is not super great, but hopefully you'll be able to read it and we can go from there. So got my marker here, and let's talk about what tools we have in place to follow up and create your follow-up system. So the first thing that probably everyone has is some kind of recorded video presentation. And sometimes you've got two of these. You've got a short, 2 or 3 minute video to kind of gauge interest, and then you've got a longer presentation video. So we're gonna do, and I'm gonna come over here and I hope you can still see me. We're gonna do the sizzle video, which is usually a 3 to 5 minute video. And you know what? I'm going to turn this just a little. Okay, cool. Got your sizzle video. And then you've got your presentation video. Now, in addition to a presentation video, you may also have a presentation like flip chart or something like that for one-on-one appointments, right? So you've got your presentation video, or you might have a flip chart for a one-on-one. If you don't have something like this, a video or a flip chart, this is a bonus tip, okay? Something that I was taught a long time ago about taking your prospect through the decision-making process is, if your mouth is moving, your finger should be pointing. If your mouth is moving, your finger should be pointing, which means that you should be hitting play on a video, or you should be pointing at a flip chart, pointing at a PowerPoint, whatever you've got, you always need to be using a tool when you're presenting to people. Because if you don't, you are giving off the impression that you need to be an expert, that you need to memorize this information, memorize the presentation in order to be able to present it effectively. And that scares the crap out of your prospects, because they're going, oh my gosh, I could never learn all this stuff. I could never present this the way that she's doing that. So nope, this isn't for me. I can't do that. Whereas instead, if you point, when your mouth is moving, your finger is pointing, you press play, you are reading a PowerPoint, you're reading a flip chart, then that tells your prospect, I can do that. Anybody can push play, anybody can point at a piece of paper and read what it says. So that's just a bonus tip. If you have struggles in the presentation, maybe you tend to ramble or vomit too much on your prospects, making sure that you have a tool in place that does that presenting for you is a lifesaver. And it's just super, super powerful. So I recommend that you definitely utilize one of those tools in your presentations. So you've got your sizzle video, your presentation video, your flip chart. Sometimes you might also have some kind of audio presentation. I know something we have for our team, one of our top leaders in the company actually has created an audio presentation that's about 15 minutes long, where she shares her story, the company's story, the products, the business model, and how the prospect can get involved. It's about 15 minutes long. And so I always ask people, would you rather watch a video or listen to an audio? And I send them to each one accordingly based on their personal preference. Because some people are visual and some people like to hear things. So that's just something to keep in mind. Okay, what else do we have at our disposal? We've got product samples. This is definitely a tool in your follow-up system, because some people want to try the product. So you might have a product sample. Maybe if you're service-based, you've got some kind of free trial or something like that. I know at one point I was with a company that sold greeting cards, and we could let people go in and send a free card to test out the product or the service before they committed to becoming a customer or a consultant. So you should have some kind of product sample or some way for someone to see your product. That might be something that you have in your toolbox. What else do you have in your toolbox? Success stories. And if you don't have access to these, so we've got audio and video success stories available to us in our company. And you can usually Google your company name, success stories, and you can find some videos on YouTube that are good for this. Also, check Upline and see if anyone in your upline has created any kind of video or audio recording where they share their story. So you want to have lots of success stories in your arsenal. So maybe you're talking to someone who's a teacher. Well, there's probably a teacher in your business who's had success, so you can share a teacher-specific success story with them. Another thing that you might share is, maybe a nurse who's had success and there's an audio, whatever. You want to accumulate a lot of these to have in your toolbox. And there's really three formats here. There's the video, there's the audio, and then sometimes you'll have a written one. Like you might have a blog where your company shares success stories that you can then share with your prospects. So it's always good to accumulate a lot of these so that you can plug them in at some point during the process, right? Okay, so what else do you have? You've got three-way calls. And my personal favorite, three-way messages. So maybe you struggle getting people on a three-way call. This day and age, getting people on the phone can be hard sometimes, right? And so one of the things we teach our team is, instead of a three-way call, do a three-way message. So if you're sitting there doing a text or a Facebook message with someone and they ask a question, it's so simple to say, you know what? I don't know the answer to that, but I know my sponsor, Jordan, actually would know the answer to that. I'm gonna pop her in this message real quick and she'll be able to answer it for you. So then you simply, if you're in Facebook, you click the little plus sign at the top of the message, you add your sponsor or your upline to the message, and you say, hey, Jordan, this is Mary. Mary, meet Jordan. Jordan, meet Mary. Jordan, Mary is asking a question about our startup packages and which one she thinks would be the best fit for her. Would you mind sharing your story and letting her know which package you think would be best? And then Jordan, when she has time, can pop in and say, oh, hey Mary, nice to meet you. I got started with the biggest kit. Here's why. Here's how we can help you earn that back. I highly recommend getting in with the biggest kit, Mary. Do you have any questions about that? So then you're edifying your company, you're edifying your sponsor, and you're getting that third-party validation. So three-way calls, three-way messages are huge, really, really important and really valuable tool to have in your toolbox. So what else can you have? Virtual events. This one is huge in our team, and I'm so excited. We're going to be putting out, my business partner Kathy and I are in the super beginning stages of putting together a training course to help you learn how to implement virtual events into your business. And this is not a party plan. We're not in a party plan company. But using virtual events has absolutely exploded our team. And we want to be able to offer that training to anyone regardless of what company they're in. So we're in the process of that, so stay tuned. Make sure you get on some kind of correspondence with me, follow this page, or go sign up for something in my on my blog, and make sure that you are in line to be updated when that training becomes available, because it's going to be huge. And I'm going to do some blogs and some videos and things on this as well, even before that, to kind of help you get kind of acquainted with this, because this is something that a lot of people don't know about, they're not very familiar with, and it works incredibly well. So you've got virtual events, and we've got two kinds of virtual events. Actually, multiple kinds, but at their core, you've got two kinds. You've got the kind that are hosted by you, and you've got the kind that are hosted by a connector. So, what did I say a minute ago? You've got people that fall into one of three categories, right? You're leading them through the decision-making process. You're giving them the information they need to reach the conclusion of, are they a customer, are they a consultant, or are they a connector? A connector is someone who's maybe not ready to be a customer or consultant yet, maybe won't ever be, but they want to, they've got referrals, they know people, and connectors can truly be some of the most powerful people in your business. I'm telling you, you guys, I love when someone tells me no, because then I get to go and approach them about being a connector, and I get to reach out to their network. And virtual events is the best way to do that. And I'll do some more training on that. I can't go into it today, we get way too long, but definitely you want to get with me. If you have any questions about how we do that, I'd be happy to sit down and visit with you about it. But it's very, very powerful way to reach out to your customer or to your connectors network and give your connector rewards in exchange for that. So the last thing that I want to mention, and we could go on and probably come up with even more tools that we could come up with, but the last one that I want to mention is Facebook groups. And again, we've got two kinds. We've got product and opportunity. And let me just share with you real quickly what works within our team that we do for this. So when you've got somebody that is in a Facebook, you're putting someone in a Facebook group, what we teach our team to do is each person individually creates their own product Facebook group for their own product customers and their product prospects. Then as a team, we have one large opportunity group, so that when people request information about the business and they want to learn more about the business, we can put them in that group and they get to see our team culture and experience that firsthand. And within that group, we just post value within both groups. So in your Facebook groups, the key is value. You want to do 80% value, 20% promotion. And again, that's not the topic of this call. We're talking follow-up system. But you definitely want to have Facebook groups in your arsenal if you don't already. It's very easy to implement into your follow-up steps. So these are your tools, right? These are your follow-up tools. And now it's time to go through and figure out a cohesive system that you can lead your prospects through. And you want to, first of all, just make a list of all the tools you have available to you. I'm going to stand in the middle. It's a little easier to see me. You want to make a list of all the tools you have available to you first. And then you want to write down kind of an order that makes sense as far as what steps you're going to lead someone through. So, for example, maybe you wouldn't, first of all, reach out and do a three-way call if someone hasn't watched a sizzle video, right? Maybe you wouldn't do an audio presentation right after they've done a video presentation. Maybe that's an either-or thing. So what you want to do is kind of create a flow chart using all the tools. But the first thing, just do a big brain dump and write down all the tools you have at your disposal. And then you want to kind of think about what makes sense. So I'm just going to share what works for me and my business, and hopefully this will give you an idea of what you can do in your business as well. So I've got a couple of ways that I do this. Every couple of months I do a big virtual event within my, or for myself, where I reach out to new people who aren't in my Facebook group, who haven't looked at anything I have yet. So sometimes my first contact is to reach out and do a virtual event. However, most of the time, my first contact is to reach out and ask someone if they'd like to take a look at my product Facebook group, or if I'm approaching them about the business, then I ask them, if I use one of the scripts that I share in the 6-Figure Blueprint Guide, and I direct them first to a sizzle video. Then we go to a presentation video or presentation audio, okay? And so our sizzle video is a 3-minute video that shares kind of our company story and our company brand and those kinds of things. And then I take them straight into a presentation or an audio, a video or audio presentation. After that, I will share success stories, and I always, if they're interested in the sizzle video, if they're interested in going on to the next step, I always put them in both my Facebook groups, okay? So, because that's where you're going to be able to follow up with them. And one of the rewards for getting put in my Facebook group is you get a product sample. So, hey, would you like to come join my Facebook group? I give great tips every week on, whatever your company niche is. If you're in skincare, if you're in fitness, if you're in health and wellness, weight loss, travel, say, hey, I give great fitness tips every week. I give health recipes every week. Whatever you want to share in your Facebook group. And in addition, I give freebies and discounts on our best products. I'd love for you to be a part of it. Can I add you to the group? They say yes. Awesome. Well, as a thank you for joining the group, I'm going to send you a product sample. So I don't just give samples away. I know people who do. They give samples away kind of as a first step. I like to qualify people a little bit more. I like to know that I'm going to be able to put my message in front of them after they have tried that sample. Because what's the thing that we have all experienced? You send out a sample, somebody sticks it in a drawer, they never try it, and you never hear from them again, right? And you've spent $5, $6, $7 on this sample between the cost of the sample and postage and mailing it off and all that stuff, not to mention your time, and you have no way of following up. So the sample is a reward for either attending a virtual event or going in my Facebook group. Then you always want to continue to follow up with success stories. Something else I'm going to put here. So for success stories, these can be product or business. So if you're in a company where your product has before and afters, sometimes those success stories are product success stories or those before and afters. Sometimes they're business success stories. And so, and at any point in the process also, it's always a good idea to pull somebody into a 3-way call or a 3-way message. So you want to sit down and just kind of take a look. And what I do is I have a list on my desk of all the tools that I have available. And I kind of have a basic outline that I follow. But I also know that every situation is going to be different. And if I get so hung up on reaching out, on following my system exactly, I might miss out on somebody and I might not give them the information they need in the order that they need it, right? Because our process is not to get prospects, it's to give to prospects, to give them the information they need to reach a decision, right? So whatever that decision is, whether it's customer, consultant, or connector. So I make sure that I've got a list and I know what my steps are And I can evaluate based on what that prospect needs and give them what they want and give them what they need based on the conversations that we've been having. So what I like to do is introduce a new step in this process every 24 to 48 hours. So if my first step is a sizzle video, I like to follow up with them again within 24 to 48 hours. And then I get them into a presentation in a Facebook group. And then I follow up within 24 to 48 hours. If I add someone to the Facebook group, I reach out to them again within 24 to 48 hours. And I just say, hey, wanted to see if you're liking the Facebook group. Have you seen anything you have questions about? If I mail them a product sample, I reach out within 24 to 48 hours. First, to make sure they've received it. Second, I'll reach out again in 24 to 48 hours to see if they've tried it. So there's so many reasons to reach out to people, and but you always want to be reaching out every 24 to 48 hours. And remember to never end one conversation without setting up the next conversation. So what are some additional reasons in addition to these tools? Maybe someone's been through all these steps, or they've been through the ones that make sense, and they're still not making a decision. They're still in your funnel. You've got people in your Facebook group who aren't customers, they're not consultants. So how do you continue to reach back out to them? So you're not gonna reach out every 24 to 48 hours forever. You're gonna do that for as long as it makes sense within the tools that you've got. But at some point, the timing just might not be right for someone. But you wanna continue to reach out to them forever until they say, never contact me again, or they join or they become a customer. So what are some more reasons to reach out to people? When your company puts out a new product, when you've reached a milestone in your business, to give them an update. Hey, I know we talked about the business a few months ago. I just wanted to reach out, let you know we have put some incredible tools in place, and our team members are getting checks and earning their investment back in their very first month. This new system is working really, really well, and I'd love to share more about it with you. Are you still interested in taking a look? Or maybe it's, I just won this awesome free trip. I'd love to share with you how I did it and how I can help you do it too. So anytime you reach a new milestone, or your company reaches a new milestone. I know a lot of companies, they announce sales numbers from the prior year, usually somewhere in the first quarter of the new year. So you can always reach back out to people for that when your company has reached a milestone. If there's going to be an event, a virtual event or an event in their area, that's a great time to reach back out to someone. Also, if your company has gotten good media coverage, for example, I'm in a skincare company. We've got a sunless tanner product that always just gets thrown all across the beauty magazines in the spring. So that's a great reason to reach back out to people as well when you've gotten some good media coverage, or if maybe a news channel has done a segment on your company or on your business model or something like that. Also, simply to be a go-giver, and what do I mean by that? You don't always want to reach out to people only about your business. You want to reach out to them when you have something to give them too. So, sometimes you just want to reach back out to people. Maybe you know that their kid suffers with a certain, maybe they suffer with a medical condition, or maybe they're interested in a certain sport and you hear about something, an opportunity that's coming in your area. Anytime you have something to give back to your prospect, whether it be maybe an article that reminded you of them, or maybe an event that you think they might want to attend that's not business related, whatever you want to reach out to them about, it's always good just to build those relationships and network and continue to reach out to people. Birthdays. Birthdays are a great time to reach out, as are any other kind of life change. So when they're having a baby, when maybe they're changing jobs, they got a new house, they're moving to a new city. Anytime that someone's going through a life change, they're usually more open to other forms of change as well. And so reaching out to them about your business at that point is a great time to do so. And then also, anytime that you've seen or heard a success story that fits someone like them. So, if you've got a friend who's a nurse who you've been talking to about the business, and you hear a story about a nurse who recently, doubled her nursing income, was able to retire from nursing, and has now reached the top rank of your company, that's a great opportunity to say, oh my gosh, I saw this lady's story, it reminded me of you. I'd love to share with you more about it. I'd love to help you do this too. And so anytime, those are just some other reasons to follow up with people in addition to these tools.